Good evening. Thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguele. President Muhammadu Buhari is in Paris, the French capital, ahead of African Finance Summit. The summit, to be hosted by President Emmanuel Macron, will focus on Africa's economic situation following shocks from coronavirus pandemic, as well as getting relief from increased debt burden. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
President Muhammadu Buhari alighting the Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft at Abuja International Airport, Paris at 10:15 Sunday evening local time. It is his first official visit to Europe since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic in February last year. On hand to receive him were senior French government officials, Nigeria's ambassador to France, as well as ministers of foreign affairs, finance, budget and national planning, health, industry, trade and investment, and other top government officials. President Buhari is expected to join other heads of state and government at the African Finance Summit on Tuesday to collectively discuss external funding and debt relief for Africa, as well as private sector reforms.
This is about seeking to generate money for the revival of African economies following the major hit they have received from the coronavirus epidemic. The continent has been plunged into an economic recession, the first of its type in the last 25 years. So President Macron is doing something that is very remarkable and important for our continent. This conference is supposed to seek money that will be used to restart the cycle of development on the continent. This is why we're here.
President Muhammadu Buhari is scheduled to hold high-level talks with his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders are expected to discuss growing security threats in the Sahel and the Lake Chad region and other areas critical to the economies of both countries.
Security is a key issue, is a key element of the president's election and re-election agenda. And when you consider that Nigeria, as we are geographically located, we are surrounded by French-speaking African countries. And France is the metropolitan headquarters of French-speaking world. Very influential in the affairs of the continent, and so therefore President Muhammadu Buhari is right, very correct in seeking partnership with President Macron, so that together with our African brothers we can seek to find permanent solutions, to the problems not only around Lake Chad, but in the entire Sahel and Sub-Saharan West Africa, which is racked by this crisis of terrorism.
During the visit, President Muhammadu Buhari will receive key players in critical economic sectors, as well as heads of other European institutions. From Paris, France, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The attention of the office of the Vice President has been drawn to a website named supportoshibajo.ng that is calling on Nigerians to join a volunteer group mobilizing support for Professor Yemi Oshibajo ahead of the 2023 presidential election. In a release signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akande, stated that the details of the website and the solicitation of the group are currently trending on WhatsApp, with a suggestion that Vice President Oshibajo has quietly declared interest in the 2023 election. The statement reads that the office of the Vice President is not in any way connected to the website or the group behind it and considers such an enterprise an unnecessary distraction. stating categorically that Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has not declared any interest whatsoever in the 2023 election, stressing that rather, the Vice President remains focused on working in his capacity as Vice President in the current administration to address all the compelling issues in the country and concerns of Nigerians, including finding effective and lasting solutions to the security challenges. Laolu Akonde asked those behind the call to desist from such unhelpful permutations and to join hands together with the administration in dealing with challenges confronting the country for peace and prosperity in the land. The Defence Headquarters says troops in various theatre operations will continue to uphold the rules of engagement despite the challenges presented by conflicts. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Lucky Rabo, stated this at a training course on African Commission Guidelines on Human Rights and Counter-Terrorism for Course 29 of the National Defence College, Abuja. Defence correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Crisis presents critical challenge to state actors like the military in the global quest to protect and observe human rights, particularly due to inhuman activities of criminals involved in conflicts. While various United Nations Charter and international human rights conventions seek to ensure state actors strictly adhere to such declarations, non-state actors seem to be at liberty to abuse these vital rights.
The pressure that is being brought on the government forces to respect human rights provisions, if such equal measure of attention is paid to the adversary, to the extent that conflicts of such nature can easily be resolved or will be resolved in such a faster nature, then reducing the carnage that comes being perpetrated on the innocent citizens who
that we hold our state actors, the legitimate people who are allowed to use violence in our society, to higher standards than we hold terrorists.
This training, organized by the Center for Strategic Research and Studies of the National Defence College, in collaboration with Open Society Foundation, highlights the African Commission's guidelines on human rights in counter-terrorism operations. From the National Defence College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA.
Ismail Musa there. Enugu State Head Office of the Independent National Electoral Commission has been attacked Sunday evening, that is the 16th of May 2021. INEC headquarters Abuja, while confirming the incident, says some unidentified persons overpowered the security personnel on duty around 9 p.m. and tried to set the entire building ablaze. The attention of the security agencies as well as the federal and state fire services in Enugu was drawn to the unfolding situation and they responded swiftly. The attackers set the foyer ablaze, vandalized some offices in the main building and caused extensive damage to some of the Commission's movable assets within the premises. 6 utility pickup vehicles were burnt down while 2 more were smashed and damaged. Following that, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have advocated greater synergy between INEC and security agencies towards addressing incessant attacks and arson on INEC offices nationwide. Well, they described the trend as worrisome and capable of scuttling the electoral process, if not checkmated. Lydia Sampson reports.
About 20 INEC offices across the country have been gutted by fire or attacked by hoodlums in the last 2 years. Only last night, another fire incident was reported at the Enugu office of INEC, which is the second of such incident in the state alone in less than 1 week. Exhaustive investigations, guests say, are critical to reversing the trend and bringing culprits to justice.
As it happens, we have not had a situation where we can get at the root of this, what is actually causing this. We are talking of national assets. The work that the Commission does is not anything that we think that attracts fire, but it happens.
In many of the cases, it's not clear that it's political. So I'm more interested in us looking at it from the point that there are things that has to happen, that it is orchestrated by political. We must not lose sight of the fact that there are internal collaborators.
INEC too should should arrange for private security guard to augment, because I can't see a division police officer sending more than 3 or 4 people in the local government, because he too has to protect his own station. So that thing must be there. We should explore the facilities of private guards, and we should work in synergy with the divisional police officer to ensure that every night, any person on night duty comes there and visit the INEC offices and the outskirts.
INEC really need to publicize the full implication or the extent of damage, to their equipment, to their materials when these things happen, and draw the attention of the public and the relevant security agencies to that matter.
While reiterating the need for synergy amongst all critical stakeholders, the guests also urged INEC to consider establishing a fire department in its offices. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, let's take you to Kaduna State now, where we hear that economic activities have been paralyzed following the strike action there. Our correspondent, Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, is standing by live now to give us a situation report. Suleiman, what can you tell us now?
Well, what I can tell you right now is that presently we are at the city center. We are at the Central Market, Sheikh Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi Central Market, Kaduna, and even from the background, people are going about their normal businesses. This is to show that shutdown by the NLC does not mean total blackout. Markets have opened, especially this major market and other markets around the state. People are going about their normal businesses without any hitches. Also on the streets, major streets of Kaduna, virtually everything is going on smoothly. There was no any hindrance to traffic, and nobody was really denied access to the market. So it's a little bit easier here. And since morning, the confirmation we received from some of the traders here is that there was no any enforcement, so to say, regarding opening the market at Central Market, Kaduna here. So the situation now is relatively calm, and the NLC was more concerned about the agencies and parastatals as well as ministries of government. That, in fact, we can say it was 100% or 90% successful, the level of enforcement. But as far as markets and traffic or transportation is concerned, people are really going about their normal businesses.
Right, Suleiman, good to know that at least people are, going to the markets for buying and selling to progress. Thank you for that update. We'll definitely keep in touch with you, and well done.
Well, though I did not hear you well, but
okay.
The information we received from the airport, our correspondent went there. The airport too, the staff there have really complied. The airport is shut down, likewise the railway station, and also our correspondents from other local governments, Zaria and Kafanchan, also confirmed to us that secretariats have remained closed, and railways too, and also, other agencies of government, the courts, everywhere is shut down, the schools. Right now, I'm standing with Salisu Meshada or May Atampa, a trader in Kaduna Central Market, to shed more light on the level of compliance, on whether they are going to participate in the strike tomorrow.
Suleiman, I'm afraid we don't have time for that. Suleiman, can you hear me? I'm afraid we don't have time for that.
We are ready to comply with the NLC since yesterday. That is why some of us, we didn't come to the market till around 12 to 1. So later on, the market management have already the market. But we hope by tomorrow, the many of us will comply and join the LNC for this strike for our better tomorrow.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Salisu Meshad. Thank you very much for this. So this is the situation for now. The market, as we can see, is really busy. People are going about their normal businesses. As he confirmed to us, maybe. Thank you. So this is the situation for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Suleiman, for that additional information. Thank you. All right, and following that, the Kaduna State government says it has demonstrated commitment to the welfare of workers, but insists that this is sustainable only in the context of the general welfare of residents. In an address by the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Jafar Usani says it is not sustainable to persist in spending 84 to 96% of its allocation from the Federation account and salaries and personnel costs.
Civil servants below grade level 14 have been at home since November last year due to the COVID-19 protocols. We have declared some of them essential services and have recalled them, but they are very few. We have issued a circular directing all MDAs to open registers, attendance registers, so that we take attendance of those on level 14 and above that may refuse to come to work. Those below level 14 should continue to stay at home until we issue a circular to recall them. The circular that we have issued is only for level 14 and above and those who are on essential services.
In response to the fiscal headwinds caused by declining FAC receipts and huge outlays on personnel costs, the administration announced in April 2021 that it will right-size the public service and reduce the number of political appointees and civil servants. The necessary verification of credentials for full implementation of this painful but necessary decision is still being done. It has not determined the total numbers of officers that might be affected by the decision. Neither has it stopped paying the minimum wage, despite the prompting of denizens of sentiments who have urged it to suspend payment and thereby violate the National Minimum Wage Act. The Kaduna State government prefers to take lawful and rational steps that are within its powers to right-size its personnel and thereby reduce its wage bill.
There by government officials following the strike action in Kaduna. Let's take you to Umuahia. Unknown gunmen have attacked and set ablaze another police station located at Ubakala in Umuahia South local government area of Abia State in the early hours of today. Well, the unknown gunmen killed 2 policemen on duty during the attack. Unconfirmed sources say their rifles were carted away by the men while suspects in detention were released during the attack. However, the Abia State Police Public Relations Officer, Jeffrey Ogbonna, who confirmed the attack in a telephone interview, however, said he could not confirm if rifles were carted away or that suspects in police detention were released. 5 police patrol vehicles were burnt in addition to 6 exhibit vehicles, including tricycles, during the attack. Adjoining buildings were also affected in the blast. So far, a number of police stations, all in Abia State, have been attacked by the rampage and hoodlums in the last 2 months. Similarly, a divisional police station in Nsukka, Anyocha, South local government area of Delta State, has been attacked by unknown gunmen. The attack, which took place on Sunday, 16th of May, left 3 officers dead, one of whom is a divisional police officer, DPO. The Delta State Police Public Relations Officer, Edafe Bright, confirmed the attack via a phone call. The State Commissioner of Police, Ari Mohammed Ali, has since visited the station. All right, let's go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be joining Lagos for the continuation of Nationwide. Stay tuned.
Visit our website on www.nta.ng for more news and updates, or follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. Stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Joining us in Lagos. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has delivered 14 affordable housing schemes in the last 2 years to demonstrate commitment to reducing the housing deficit in line with his theme's agenda for the development of a state. Commissioner for Housing, Ruth Aguele, made the submission at a media gathering to present his scorecard in the ministry. Musa Toliet has details.
With the growing population, which has currently exceeded 22 million, Lagos State has been grappling with provision of affordable housing scheme, especially for low-income earners. Commissioner for Housing, Ruth Aguele, stressed that the reality of the time necessitated the introduction of rent-to-own affordable housing scheme in some parts of the metropolis. He said 14 of such schemes have been completed and delivered across Lagos, including Latif Jakonde Gardens in Igondo, Lagos State Affordable Public Housing Scheme in Idale Badagry, Lagos Homes Lekki Phase 2, and Babatunde Raji Fashola Estate, Surulere.
It is expected that by the third anniversary of this administration, 35 schemes translating to over 7,000 homes that are either through direct budgetary allocation or joint ventures will be made available to the people. 10 schemes are already delivered, with 4 schemes about to be commissioned. The others are at various levels of completion, will be perfected by 2022.
Akinde Fatai said that the Lagos State Mortgage Board has strengthened the rent-to-own policy, putting many residents on the home ownership ladder, adding that Lagos State has made its housing development law investor-friendly with a view to attracting more investors in the housing development and delivery value chain across the state. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
From housing, we move on to health. Bridging the gap in malaria prevention coverage in sub-Saharan Africa has been identified as crucial in the efforts to prevent malaria globally by 2030. This was the consensus of experts at a forum to increase global awareness on tackling the ailment. Lynn Deneke reports.
Malaria has been identified as a threat to public health, killing 1 child every 2 minutes, according to the World Health Organization. The disease results from multiplication of malaria parasites in the red blood cells through a mosquito bite, causing fever, headaches, in some cases progressing to coma or even deaths.
Here we have this implementation in place, also by partners, that helps to prevent the children in that age group, 1 to 5 years, coming down with malaria. But adults also take it in the north.
Likewise, our pregnant women, when they go to the facilities, to ensure that they don't get malaria in pregnancy, they also get what we call intermittent preventive therapy for pregnancy, and that's the use of sulfadoxine-pyrimethamine.
This gathering highlights the importance of health surveillance system, sustaining malaria prevention, as well as maintaining progress in the commitment to end malaria.
People have not been really fully informed about malaria. So we decided to come here and teach the people about malaria, about mosquitoes, about the different types, and about the control methods.
Experts say consistent and correct use of lasting insecticidal nets is a step towards breaking the chain of transmission.
Over the years, vectors like we talked about, the coronavirus, have developed resistance. And some of them don't respond to the common insecticide that we use at home because they've developed resistance. So no matter how much you do the fleeting of the house, you still get mosquito.
As the world continues the tussle with COVID-19, experts maintained that it is important to ensure the population is protected from malaria. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
We're going now to Ibadan, where Larry Idowu has the next set of reports. Hello, Larry, it's over to you.
All right, Adiola, thank you for that. We'll definitely join Larry very shortly, but let's continue from here. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has called upon public relations practitioners in the country to exhibit high sense of patriotism at all times. The minister made the call when he granted audience to the leadership of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations in Abuja. Let's hear more from Anthony Forson.
you have a powerful platform.
Expressing delight with the body's determination to partner with government in building an egalitarian society, La Mohammed said NIPR should amplify the need for peaceful coexistence and not divisive commentaries.
Yes, it is okay and right for people to express their views, show their concern about insecurity, whatever or whatsoever, even suggest restructuring or whatsoever. But what is not acceptable is the call for secession. What is not acceptable is the call for war. So I'm glad that at least on that score, we are on the same page.
To the National Institute for Public Relations, the minister insisted that members must at all times remain patriotic in the face of practicing for gains, as some practitioners engage in acts that are inimical to the nation, citing the case of PNID, which engaged a Nigerian public relations firm to help launder its image against Nigeria.
To give the impression to the world that Nigeria indeed entered into an agreement with PNID and actually reneged. And as such, Nigeria should pay about $9 billion US.
Describing NIPR as a relationship-building body, the national president, Mukhtar Siraju, said NIPR is equally worried about the state of the nation.
We think the situation we are in this country goes beyond politics. I think it goes beyond blaming the president or blaming the government or blaming the party in power. It is a situation that requires all of us to come together, talk sense into ourselves, ask necessary, even if difficult questions, try to look for solution to the problems that we are in as a people.
The national president of the institute used the opportunity to formally extend an invitation to the minister to attend its forthcoming annual general meeting built for Bauchi State. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Visit our website on www.nta.ng for more news and updates, or follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. Stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
All right, let's talk ICT to get Nigeria into the Committee of Technology-Driven Nations. ICT experts are of the opinion that telecommunication services need to speed up Nigeria's economic development and recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic by accelerating the pace of digital transformation through strategic investment in digital infrastructure. Well, this is coming on the occasion of the 2021 International Telecommunications and Information Society Day. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson looks at the focus of the celebration.
Information drives today's world, but the medium through which it is accessed, the quality and the speed with which it travels are what ICT experts say remains a challenge.
Nigeria, like many other developing countries, is said to lack the required investment in IT infrastructure necessary to achieve improved efficiencies and enhanced information flow for economic growth and innovation. It's another May 17, and the world is commemorating the founding of International Telecommunication Union, ITU. This year has the theme Accelerating Digital Transformation in Challenging Times. ITU members are using the opportunity to accelerate digital transformation agenda that is all-encompassing by promoting national strategies on ICT development across the world.
There has to be a continuous and deliberate investment in the telecom sector. the government has to take it as a strategic policy to bridge the gap.
Nigeria's Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy is exploring new ways of bridging the connectivity gap, which communications regulators believe that working together with other stakeholders in the industry to provide innovative technology solutions that are life transforming will fast track the Digital Nigeria policy. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Many thanks, Joseph, for that. Let's further discuss, and we have in the studio Sadiq Nasir. He's an ICT expert. Thank you very much for coming on Nationwide.
Thank you, Ruth, for inviting me.
All right, so where would you say Nigeria is in the Committee of Nations if we're looking at digitally driven nations?
Okay, when you look at the deregulation of the telecoms industry, from the year 1999, that's about just a little over 20 years ago, you have seen that we've gradually experienced rapid transformation from where we came from prior to that. And the key thing is we need to invest more, we need to do a lot more. Not just the government here, we're talking about the various players in the industry. We need to do a lot more. And this cannot be done by the government alone. For example, we have a lot of startups that are taking part in the digital economy drive. We have a lot of young people that want to get into the industry, but some of them haven't got a clue. And this all became apparent with the rise of the COVID, because COVID actually exposed our current status. It opened our mind, and we just need to have honest and sincere conversation from where we are and where we need to go to. Where we need to get to. Nigeria is not doing. It's doing fairly okay compared to some nations.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, we shouldn't stop where we are right now. We should aim for the sky.
All right, and of course, from what you're saying, those startups need opportunities.
Yes.
And we have our challenges as a nation.
Yes.
But in as much as you want to state some of the challenges, what about the prospects if we're looking at Nigeria's drive for digital economy?
The prospects are endless. Once we are able to set our priorities right, open up the digital economy, we're not just talking about the population of Nigeria, which is 200 million. We're talking about the entire global economy. What I mean by that is you can be able to produce products here for the local market, and then of course gradually export them. So when we're talking about digital economy, we're not just talking about the local economy. So the opportunities are endless. When you look at the business process outsourcing as a segment by itself, what that means is we set up local businesses in Nigeria, and then we allow our businesses to solve problems in the Western world. What that means is, for example, when you call a call center, for example, a bank in America, instead of the American bank responding, instead you get diverted to a local service center here. Yeah. So those are some of the opportunities that are available. Now, when you look at the small SMEs, a lot of the businesses are selling a lot more because right now they're able to leverage on things like social media marketing. You see people putting posts on WhatsApp.
Which is the big market now.
Yes.
And a lot of countries have been able to navigate, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. What lessons is there for Nigeria, to learn if we have to drive our digital economy?
Well, there's a lot to learn. What that means is we have to invest a lot in infrastructure. We have to set up VC funds, like venture private funds, where these young startups can gain access to funds. We have to do more training. When we talk about training, we're not just talking about training from the government side. The private sector needs to be involved because the government cannot do it alone. So it has to be a multi-stakeholder approach.
PPP.
Yeah, exactly. So, but once we do that, I think we should be able to be where we need to be, because Nigeria's economy is big and we can actually grow bigger.
You've said it all, Sadiq, and the opportunities are endless. Thank you very much for your time with us.
You're welcome.
All right, let's take you to Ibadan. Larry is already waiting to bring us some more reports. Larry.
Thank you, Ruth, and good to see you. Welcome to Ibadan. Patients at the University College Hospital, UCH, Ibadan, have not been having adequate medical attention following the industrial action embarked upon by resident doctors at the hospital. Ruth Aguele has a situation report.
For the past 2 weeks, Patients at the University College Hospital, UCH Ibadan, have been going through a harrowing experience due to an industrial action embarked upon by 215 resident doctors in the hospital demanding for their unpaid salaries.
We appeal to our doctors to please come back to work because the strike is having a negative effect on us.
The resident doctors say the strike is to drive home their demands, which is having an adverse effect on them.
We reached out to the federal government through our national body to get those doctors enrolled on IPPIs. Of course, that has not happened.
The hospital management shed more light into the issue.
At the point at which IPPI started in this hospital, it was supposed to capture everybody. At that time, ARD said they were not joining because it's a transitional phase. They are on training, and as soon as they finish, they go. So it wouldn't have been really necessary to be on IPPI. But later it became necessary that everybody that takes salary from the federal government must be on IPPIs.
The question is for how long, and will it not pull a strain on their already busy schedule? In Ibadan, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
The ancient town of Iseyin, Oyo State, has been disturbed following the death of 5 people. The death has been alleged to be through the shooting by customs officers in the area. Adekunle Adebayo has details.
The ancient town of Iseyin is still wearing a mourning look following the unfortunate incident that occurred during the festive period. 5 youths between the ages of 30 and 35 were allegedly killed through stray bullets shot by the custom officials who were pursuing smugglers right in the town of Iseyin. One of the victims, Timothy Badegesi, who was said to be mending his tire when the stray bullet hit him. Another victim, who left behind a wife and 6-week-old child, was about to be buried when we got there.
There are a lot of trouble here and there in the country. They should not turn my community to battleground.
This is very disheartening and very, very annoying. If you are at the border and the rice was able to pass through your border and you mounted more than 7 checkpoints and they beat all those checkpoints, please for God's sake, what are you looking for inside the town?
It's becoming trite now in the same land that they will just, by virtue of one thing or the other, shoot some of the innocent. They will shoot them.
Meanwhile, the customs office in Iseyin has been deserted, while one of the operation vehicles was said to have been raised by angry youths. The youths who are disheartened by the situation are demanding for justice. From Iseyin, Adekunle Adebayo, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports in Abuja studios, where Ruth is standing by.
Thank you very much, Larry. Public service engagements and some social and economic activities have been paralyzed in Kaduna State. We told you that earlier, but we want to bring you the report now following the ongoing strike by the organized labor over sack of workers by the state government. Let's hear these now from Achari Maxwell.
Besides government offices that are under lock and key, the ever-busy Rigasa train station is the shadow of itself, as train services have been suspended.
We came to board the train, but unfortunately, they're on strike also. They've joined the NLC.
There's no train now. We are going back.
Same situation is at the Kaduna International Airport. Financial institutions, public hospitals and schools remain closed. Filling stations have also shut their doors, leaving consumers at the mercy of black marketers. Reports from Zaria, Kafancha, Makarfi, and Birnin-Gwari also shows compliance with the NLC directive for total strike. The organized labor led by the NLC president Ayuba Waba is already in Kaduna for a peaceful protest to ensure compliance with its total shutdown directive. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
All right, Joss will be our next stop, and Frama will guide us. Frama?
And welcome to Joss. Training on intelligence and security for security personnel of the University of Jos has ended, with a charge on participants to effectively utilize the exercise by ensuring security of lives and property of the institution. Elizabeth Tukai Andrew reports. The training covered crime prevention, information gathering, basic guard duty, fire prevention and emergency control.
How we implement our duties with ease, and then the importance of information gathering, relevant information gathering.
We also learn how to approach people, whenever you engage somebody that approach you in the wrong way. So we learn how to control our emotions and talk to the person politely.
I've learned how to control my access points. I learned that whenever there is problem on ground, I should try to get in touch with the control room. And I've learned more about the duty of a security personnel.
The security officers were taking through critical areas that we felt we enabled them to do their job better.
While addressing the 460 participants, Vice Chancellor of the institution urged them to utilize the training, which has placed them as sophisticated security operatives. He says security is the business of all.
We expect that the security apparatus of the university will improve tremendously. This will manifest itself by the drastic reduction we expect in social vices within our campuses.
The training has advanced the university security system to face the challenges bedeviling the institution. In Jos, Alisa Botukai Andrew, NTA News. Member representing Shandam, Kwampang and Mikan Federal Constituency, Comsol Alphonsus Longap, has emphasized the need for harmonious living for meaningful development. He says this while interacting with his constituents. Indian and Abuja has details.
The visit of the House of Representatives member to communities in his constituency was in fulfillment of his promise of periodic visits to identify their challenges with a view to finding possible solutions to them. He says efforts are being intensified to provide them with democracy dividends, calling on them to sustain their support for the success of government policies and programs. The legislator urged them to shun violence, embrace peace, and avoid acts that will disunite them.
It's not all the time that we will always come to them for campaign and seeking for their votes. But at a time like this, we need to be with them. That's why I made it possible for me to go around in order to meet with them. We are trying to unite our people together.
Representatives of the various communities thanked the lawmaker for his commitment to the people's welfare and expressed confidence in his ability to deliver.
If you are not mixing with the people you are representing, you will not know their feeling.
He is a good member which we ever see. Since the beginning of this democracy, we have never seen the type of member who have worked accordingly, without sentiment, without any differences.
In Jos, Indian and the Abuja, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. Mohammed in Maiduguri is standing by with more reports, but after this break.
Welcome to Nationwide from Maiduguri. The Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbe Al-Kanemi, has called on all Nigerians to intensify prayers to seek an end to the security challenges confronting the entire nation. The Royal Father made the call during traditional visit to the Borno State Acting Governor Umar Usman Kadafur at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni reports.
Shehu Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbe El-Kanemi expressed concern over the rising security challenges in the country, including resurgence of terror attacks on some part of the northeast, as well as banditry, kidnapping and other forms of criminalities, emphasizing the need for constant prayers to end the threat.
So the only permanent solution to this problem is for all of us to pray to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from this problem.
The Royal Father also called on all to cooperate with the security operatives by exposing criminal elements in the society, and further use the opportunity to pray for the safe return of Governor Zulum and other pilgrims from Lesser Hajj. Acting Governor Umar Usman Kadafur thanked the Shehu for the visit and urged all to respond to the clarion call for intensification of prayers to end the security challenges.
But we dwell in prayers, inshallah, our prayers will be answered.
and the long peace that we have been wanting in the state will be restored back, inshallah.
While noting the continued support of the traditional institution to the present administration, the acting governor assured support to the traditional leaders in the state and further expressed commitment to providing the basic needs of the citizenry. He used the visit to ask the people of Borno to exercise patience as government is doing everything possible to restore power supply to the state. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
33 communities across Borno State, mostly victims of the Boko Haram insurgency, have benefited from construction of temporary learning centers and latrines. The project, targeting more than 13,000 vulnerable and street children as part of efforts to give them quality education, is being executed by UNICEF, Gender Equality, Peace and Development Center, and the Commonwealth Development Office. Yagum Subuka reports.
Gender Equality, Peace and Development Center is responsible for harnessing establishment of temporary learning centers for less privileged children, empowerment of vulnerable women, training and support for victims of insurgency, as well as provision of irrigation facilities for women in IDP camps to cultivate vegetables for their personal consumption and to generate small cash. Executive Director JEPARC, Professor Patricia Donley said, statistics have shown that more than 13 million children are out of school, hence the desire by the organization, in partnership with UNICEF, to take the children off the streets.
Education is very important, is to go get those children into school.
Will be a safe space where children can learn, can feel protected.
Borno State Commissioner for Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, Engineer Mustafa Gubio, Manager Education Program Street Child, appreciated JEPARC and UNICEF for establishing the learning centers in the state. State Director JEPARC and Draman said, with the Borno State 25-year development plan in place, the state would be great again. Stakeholders thanked Borno State Governor for his untiring effort towards sustaining peace and development of the state, especially the reconstruction and rehabilitations of communities and infrastructure, with the education sector a major beneficiary. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Maiduguri. Is back to Abuja.
Thank you, Mohammed. And next for us here is sports updates, and Badi Adelea will guide us.
The president of the African Mini Football Confederation, Ben Salah Atraf, arrived in Nigeria Monday for a familiarization and inspection tour ahead of the second African Mini Football Confederation Nations Cup, scheduled for 8th to 17th July 2021 in Ibadan, Oyo State. The president, after meeting with some bigwigs in the Nigerian sports fraternity in Abuja, will be in Ibadan to assess the country's readiness to host the event.
We're coming here to send positive message to all other countries around Africa and around the world that Nigeria is very safe and ready to host African Nation Cup.
The Nigerian Television Authority has been named the official broadcaster for the tournament. Meanwhile, Akwa United head coach Kennedy Boboye says his players must remain focused to realize their dreams of winning the 2020-2021 Nigeria Professional Football League title. The Promise Keepers defeated local rivals Dakada 2-0 on Sunday to maintain their lead atop the MPFL standings, and with the likes of Kano Pillars, Kwara United and Rivers United closely following the Uyo-based team. Boboye has urged his team to put an end to their wastefulness in front of goal.
It has been a problem in not just Akwa United, I think virtually teams in the Premiership, because any team you play against, you see chances being thrown away.
Elsewhere, Super Falcons captain Asisat Oshoala is still relishing winning her maiden UEFA Women's Champions League with Barcelona. The Spanish champions demolished Chelsea 4-0 on Sunday to win the Champions League for the first time in their history, with Oshoala coming on as a second-half substitute. The former FC Robo Queens forward has now become the first Nigerian and African to win the UEFA Women's Champions League. With sports update, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
We're done with Nationwide. Thank you for your company, but let's remind you not to be wary in the fight against rape and rapists. NTA is here for you. I'm Ruth Aguele. Enjoy your evening.
Truth.